This is a public meeting of the Berlin Conservation Commission.
And this is being recorded.
It was probably a good idea.
Occurring via Zoom webinar on January 6, 2021, starting at 7:09 p.m. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer unless you want to. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. So confirming member access. This is John Aney, Chair of the Berlin Conservation Commission. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated in the agenda are present, blah, blah, blah. So members and associate members, and I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Carolyn McDonald.
Here.
Walter Bickford.
Here.
Liz DiChiara.
Here.
Steve Beard.
No.
Harry.
Louise Janda.
Here.
Robin Berry.
Here.
And Holly Kennedy DeGrudela.
Here.
Okay. We have 3 anticipated speakers for the agenda meetings, which there'll be Alex Parra, Steve Sears, and Gene Crouch. I'm not sure if any of them are currently present. With a quorum of the commission at present, I call this meeting to order at 7:10 p.m. on Wednesday, January 6, 2021. This open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to this current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Berlin website at www.townofberlin.com. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement to the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, provided reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. While no in-person attendance of members of the public is permitted, every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The standard public comment portion of this meeting will accommodate limited public comment for this meeting. The Conservation Commission is convening using the Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, identifying how the public may join. The public is encouraged to follow along to this meeting using the posted agenda. Supporting materials will be screen shared during discussions. Commission members and speakers on the agenda, please remember to request recognition before speaking, and please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Concerning public comment, to the extent that our technical capability allows, public comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of this meeting as follows. Attendees' phones and other devices will be muted until they raise their hand and are recognized by me to speak via Carolyn. I ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify their name, and will afford each speaker time to ask a question or make a brief comment. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Boom. All right, next up is minutes. So let me screen share those suckers. All righty. So these are the minutes of December 16th, 2020, meeting opened at 7:11. John opened the meeting by reading that very long statement. By executive order of the Governor Baker, due to COVID-19, the town offices are closed to the public. John reviewed the rules for holding the remote meeting. A roll call vote was taken with the following results. John Aney here, Walter here, Steve here, Liz here. Carolyn here, Louise here. Other attendees, Leanne Leahy opened the meeting and turned over to Carolyn, I think. Janet Lamy was a guest, and Michael Ginsburg was a guest for one of the appointments.
I think I came late last month, was I? I thought I was there later.
You were.
Yeah.
We just.
7:27 as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was giving you a hall pass, but fine. Okay, you're in detention now. Number one, review and approve minutes of previous meeting. Minutes for December 16, 2020 were reviewed and edited. Carolyn moved to approve the minutes with minor edits. Steve seconded the motion, which passed by a roll call vote with the following results: John, I, Carolyn, I, Liz, I, Walter, I, Louise, I, Steve, I. Treasurer's report, none given. Bills and forms. Postage reimbursement for John Aney. John submitted a bill in the amount of $23 for postage.
I did
Steve
that?
moved- You did.
Oh, wow. Caught me at a weak moment.
Yeah.
Generous.
Steve moved to reimburse John in the amount of $23 for postage, which I have received. Carolyn seconded the motion, which passed with a unanimous roll call vote. Mail notices, Berlin website training. The town is hosting a website training via Zoom on Thursday, January 14th from noon to 4. Number 2, 64 Beta Road, self-reported wetland violation. The Concom account received an email from Garrett Horsfell of Kelly Engineering Group Incorporated, representing Keith Borum, who recently purchased property at 64 Beta Road. Mr. Borum reportedly deposited some wood chips within the 100-foot buffer zone of nearby wetlands. Once the snow clears, then a site visit can be scheduled and remediation can be planned. Plastic bag ban notification of the plastic bag ban passed at the annual town meeting, will go into effect on January 1st.
Woo!
Wetlands, Highland Ridge, DEP 107-241. John reported that Alex Para, attorney for Homes at Highland Ridge, could not attend the meeting tonight, so the appointment to discuss the CR was postponed. John stated that Pat Garner had conducted a site visit and found conditions in the site were good. Hunter River Road West, Dave Burke, who has been advising the owners of Hunter River Road West, informed the Concom about the recommendations he has made to them and how to fix the issues. The Concom will continue to communicate with Dave Burke and with DEP to resolve the issue. 32 Allen Road wetlands issue. Walter has met with the owner of 32 Allen Road, who is unaware of the laws of Wetland Protections Act. Upon consulting with Pat Garner, Walter agreed to work with the owner to correct the violations, and enforcement order has been put in place. Appointment 7:30, certificate of compliance for 100 Crossy Road common driveway. An order of conditions for 96, 100, and 102 Crossy Road. Oops, an order of conditions DP
Really?
17230
Wow.
was issued for the common driveway for 96, 100, and 102 Crossy Road on July 1st, 2015, because of the proximity of the driveway to the wetlands. Michael Ginsburg, owner of the property at 100 Crossy Road, was present by Zoom at the meeting. He reported that he was selling the property and needs to have the COC in order to clear the title. John and Walter reported on the site visit they conducted, saying that the site was stable and that gentle slope from the driveway to the wetlands was covered by grass. Walter moved that the CC issue a COC for DUP 107-0230, which concerns all 3 properties that share the common driveway. Robin seconded the motion, which passed by unanimous roll call vote. The original copy of CC we give to Mr. Ginsburg. I also gave him multiple other copies so he could give copies to his neighbors and stuff, just so they have something for their record. 8 p.m. rail trail update. Franny Hodge, the Concom invited Franny Hodge to the Clinton Greenway Trust to meet on Zoom to provide information on the timeline to purchase land from Pan Am that would become part of the rail trail. Franny reported on the progress of the rail trail in Clinton and outlined the procedures the Clinton Greenway Trust put in place to acquire the old rail bed using money from a grant to offset the cost. The Concom discussed how the experience of the folks at Clinton might be used to allow Berlin to acquire the rail bed that Pan Am owns in Berlin. Walter and Robin will contact Pan Am regarding their willingness to work with us. 200 Crossy Road. John was contacted by Paul Kirshner of Stansky and McNary, who represents the owner of 200 Crossy Road, DEP 107-0245. The owner wants to use a larger stone veneer in his barn, which would enlarge the footprint of his barn by 4 inches on both length and width. John shared the most recent site plan of the barn. Carolyn observed that the proposed changes would encroach on the 25-foot no touchstone zone. Concom agreed that some of the stuff, Louise, it got cut off.
I don't know, because I typed it in there. I must have forgotten to save it or something.
Did you white it? Did you use whiteout?
No.
Yeah. Check your screen.
Excuse me, Mr.
Is there
Chairman,
still such a thing as whiteout?
is this
No, I
a
was just making that up.
gross mistake by the minute taker?
Say
First
again,
ever.
Walter?
I say, is this another terrible mistake by the minute taker?
Ooh, Walter, you're skating on
He's
very,
he's
very thin
angling
ice.
for the job.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think so.
Well,
I think
my
Walter really
nomination
wants to do
take
it.
over.
Oh, Louise is the best.
Yes, she is.
Absolutely.
I believe that's called backpedaling.
That's true.
So we were not in favor of the proposed changes, and I let him know that by email. 8, old business, Highland Ridge CR SVT as conservation monitor. John reported on email discussions he had with staff from SVT and suggested that the owners of Highland Ridge development pay for the conservation monitoring of the conservation restriction. He shared the budget proposal received from SVT. Bridge Road, National Grid, John reported he's been in contact via email with Sarah French of BHB, who's representing National Grid regarding the installation of several utility poles on Bridge Street. Wetland bylaw, and John Carolyn will be in contact with Tim Wheeler of the planning board concerning the wetlands bylaw. And 149 Fire Hill Road, John reported that Ducharme Dillis Design Group updated to include both the straw bottles and silt fencing. A negative determination of applicability document had been sent to the applicant. Nothing. Steve moved to adjourn the meeting. Carolyn seconded the motion, which passed by a unanimous roll call vote. Meeting ended at 8:49 p.m. Minutes recorded by Louise, John, and Johnny.
All right, just go back up to the top for a minute.
Yep.
Attendees.
Yep.
Put Robin in there because in the minute she made a lot of decisions or requests.
Oh,
So-
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that
I wasn't,
wasn't,
Robin, I was giving you a hard time and I didn't
No.
realize you weren't even in there. Sorry about that.
No
I thought you were
worries.
just, yeah. Here-ish.
And just, John, just so you know, Attorney Para is in the audience.
Great.
Looks like
What can I
he's. Oh, Peg has raised her hand also.
Yes, Peg.
So I heard a woot woot, and I think it was around your plastic bag ban. So I think it was Carolyn.
Yep.
Yes.
So I wanted to let you know that at the board meeting, what's tonight, Wednesday? So on Monday, we recommended a one-time extension to the enforcement of the bylaw to July 1st, 2021, only because we had received a few emails from local businesses that had gone out and purchased a boatload of plastic bags and didn't know what to do with them.
Does it say in the bylaw that businesses can use their stock on hand?
I don't know, we'd have to go back and look, but I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of it, that we've kind of granted a bit of a stay of execution to let people get through their stock.
Kind of a grant.
And-
for-
Right.
Because
How
we've already
local?
extended
How
it.
local? Like Highland Commons local or?
They were Berlin businesses.
It's really just Highland Commons that, because anybody else is going to be a smaller volume.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. No, it wasn't either mall on end of the town. It really was the smaller businesses. And we kind of felt an obligation to make sure that we didn't, punish, for lack of a better word, that they had gone out and spent money and then we're saying, sorry, you can't. use
Yeah.
it.
Kind of, they're bad though. I mean,
I know.
it's not a surprise that this is,
Yeah, and we
that this
already
was happening
extended
in town,
Okay.
but
Mr. Chairman,
whatever.
Yeah, well, one moment, Walter. Peg, you said July 1st?
That is correct. July 1st,
Okay.
2021.
Okay, and yes, Walter?
two things. Number one, I would think that there's a legal right that you can't pass a law that is retroactive, so to speak. So they should have a right to a grandfather clause, if you will, to use those bags. And frankly, I forgot what the second thing was, but there was another good one I had there.
Oh, it'll come to you eventually, Walter. Anyway, can I hear, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes with edits.
I'll
So
make a
moved.
motion. So moved.
And Liz,
Second-
you seconded?
Seconded, third, and fourth.
All right, I think Liz seconded. I saw her hand come up.
would we edit the minutes? Or would we write it up in tonight's minutes?
Tonight's minutes. We talk about the bag ban? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's tonight's minutes. Yeah, we talked about it tonight, so it would be in tonight's minutes.
Okay.
And, all
Make
right,
sure you spell it correctly, Louise.
Yeah, okay.
I just,
All right. So
Carolyn,
that
just,
would come under old business then.
Sure.
Sure, yes. Or notices, either one, because, either one. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor, vote by roll call. John, I. Walter?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Louise?
Aye, okay. Can we go
And
back?
Robin?
What was the
Aye.
The motion was to accept the minutes as amended.
Okay,
All right.
Liz made the motion, Steve seconded.
Third and fourth.
Yes,
Mhm.
because he's greedy that way.
All right. So it's 7:25. Okay, treasurer's report. Robin, you ready?
Yes, I am, for the most
All right.
part. So budget, we have 858.29, so $858.29.
Okay.
Open space fund, we have $186,635.62.
Yeah.
So then the wetlands, John, that's the one that I was disputing with what they'd said, not disputing, but what the documents you sent me was different. I didn't have some of the numbers there. So what I have is $10,897.58. And I don't know if you want me to read what we have from the town as of, so the town one was as of October 31st though.
Yeah.
But it didn't reconcile with what I had as of this October 31st. There was a couple things in there. There was a couple, like, there was like a big credit, and so they were showing, so under the wetlands fund, they were showing debits of $171.50 and credits of $512.50.
Didn't John try to pay something out of the wetlands fund that
Yeah, I
got
did.
nixed?
No,
Is
maybe
that
not
what
next.
Oh, it was not nixed.
Apparently not. Yeah, I don't think it was actually. I think it was. That might have been the chain. That looks about right.
I
I
was
was trying
wondering.
to, yeah, I was
Go ahead.
trying to run it through by numbers that I had and work out different scenarios, and I couldn't make the numbers work to figure out where it might have been in the wrong spot. Like there were a few that were in a different account and I was able to figure out. So the other accounts I was able to sort out, but this one I couldn't figure out. I didn't have numbers that would make it work, even if I took stuff from November.
I think the 171 is the chain and locks from the for the end of the Mount Laurel Trail.
Okay.
And then the other one, the credits are just, I'm sure were just fees, and we can go back to the minutes or whatever and figure out which.
Yeah, I thought I had everything from the minutes, but maybe I missed something. So I'll go back.
Trouble is, some of that might not even be in the minutes because it would have been in the it might have been in the NOI package.
Oh, okay, that could be why.
Yeah, that's so like it
Okay.
didn't occur to me to, because we're not sitting down anymore. Well, I'm sitting
Yeah,
down.
that makes sense. All right.
so
So,
do
but
you-
June would know because she actually gets the check,
Okay.
So I put the check in the accountant's office. So
Right.
so
Yeah,
she-
when we used to meet in person, Carol would take a copy of the check for our records.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have copies as part of the NOI report, but
Well, I'll reach out to June and see if she can give me more detail.
Julie,
June.
Okay.
June,
So
yeah,
what
just
do we
June.
wanna-
June will be able to let you know, and you guys can figure that out. If you could do that, I'd
Okay.
be very grateful, and I won't put you in detention.
Sounds good.
Oh, boy.
And
Okay.
and then let me know so I can sign these silly things.
Okay.
one of the minutes for the treasurer's report, it's as of December 31st.
Correct.
October 30.
Okay.
I thought it was
No, no.
October.
Sorry for the confusion. What the stuff that John sent me to give to June was through October 31st, but the numbers I just gave you were through December 31st. So the only one I'm gonna have to update is that wetlands one, but that's what I have for now. So until I figure out with June So I'll plan on doing an update at the next meeting. I know usually we only do it at this first meeting of the month, but I'll plan on getting with her and figuring that out, and we'll do an update at the next meeting.
Okay, so the annual budget was what?
The annual budget was $858.29.
Okay. And the wetlands was 10,800?
800. Yep, $10,897.58.
58?
Yep, 58.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Robin.
No problem.
All right. So we'll head on to our 7:30 appointment.
You
Do you
want me
wanna-
to promote,
Please.
is that Highland Ridge?
Yes, Highland Ridge Conservation Restriction, Attorney Power, Alex Power.
All right. He is now.
He's muted.
Oh.
There he is.
There he is.
Nope. Yep. Oh.
How does that work?
There we are. There we go. Okay. Alex, you don't have to dress up for these meetings.
Well, you know, it's a sign of respect, right?
Wear a plaid shirt, you'll get a lot more.
Well,
Well, good evening.
so, good evening. We did make a couple of changes to the conservation restriction. I forwarded those to you. They relate to the trails and the public access. We just clarified that, you know, the trails are on both parcels, B and D. And that's, yeah, there we go. And then we added to the public access language later on, just to clarify that we were making a grant of public access rather than just agreeing not to discourage it. So those were the changes to, there we go, to the conservation restriction. We also had the engineer try to clean up the easement plan and for the drainage and make it clearer by shading the drainage easement area. So that's those changes. I also received the SVT proposal for monitoring. What we've done in the past, and I would ask the commission to ask SVT if they would be willing to do it on this basis, is that the property, you know, that's subject to the conservation restriction will be owned by the homeowners association. And in the past, we've put into the homeowners association documents the obligation to pay for, you know, annual review and monitoring of the conservation restriction, you know, on invoice from the monitoring agent. And we've typically had a limit of $2,000 per year unless there's some issue that arises. So what that does two things. One is it you know, provides for annual payment, but if there is an issue that requires enforcement, then the homeowners association you know, has an obligation to pay the monitoring agent for those expenses as well. So if we'd ask if the commission would be willing to go to SVT and ask them if they will do it on that basis rather than a lump sum basis of, what was it, $11,700.
Right. I mean, one thing, you know, the $11,700 covers like 20 to 30 years or perhaps indefinitely. The way they do business is just sort of this upfront thing. That's the way they prefer to do it. It's actually, you know, considerably less expensive than $2,000 a year. So I, you know, I certainly can ask them, but I'm not sure they'll be willing to do that or not. You know, the second thing, yeah, I'm a little worried about just you know, the agreement with the homeowners association simply because, we're not a business. And so, we don't even have any staff. So I don't want something to get lost in the shuffle from, one agreement to the other. So it would be better for us if, you guys made the payment to SVT and then transferred, you then got the money from the homeowners association as a reimbursement. The third thing I was just wondering about is in the conservation restriction itself, there's no language about a conservation monitor. And we're wondering if some language could be put in there about that.
Yeah, it's not typically in the conservation restriction. I don't mind it being put in. I'm happy to try to, draft up a provision. It's like I said, in the past, we've usually handled that by putting it into the homeowners association as an obligation, to the municipality. But if you want it in the conservation restriction, I'm happy to try to draft something up.
Right. And to my other points, for instance, the homeowners association document probably won't be ratified for a long time, and there's no homes yet, let alone any homeowners. So, again, it's, my concern about just, a year or a year and a half from now or 2 years from now, just not being, just that T not getting crossed. Yes, Carolyn?
I have two thoughts about it being the responsibility of the homeowners association. I totally agree with you that it will be much easier for it to get lost in the shuffle. There's also how does enforcement happen? It's kind of like the agreement that Balance Rock has with the quarry, and there's some stuff in there that the town is supposed to oversee that has kind of gotten lost over the years, and eventually no one in town offices even knows that that's something that's supposed to happen. So I definitely agree that if Sudbury Valley trustees is paid in a way that they're comfortable with, that they take on the responsibility for making sure the monitoring happens. The flip side of that is that if the homeowners association has to pay for the monitoring, they're going to be a little bit more diligent about making sure there's no infractions. So,
although my experience reviewing the conservation monitoring reports from Sudbury Valley trustees is that they really take that job very seriously.
exactly.
They keep track of it. They get out there, they do it, they publish a report, they find stuff. I mean, that's what I like about SVT in this role is that I can trust that they will do this job indefinitely, as opposed to, some secretary leaving and then.
Right. Well, and if the homeowners association decides to not pay the bill every year, that leaves Sudbury Valley trustees in a difficult situation of trying to collect money that they're owed for doing the job that we've entrusted them to do.
Right.
Yep, I agree with that.
So then they turn to us, we turn to our lawyers send a letter, it ends up costing conservation $1,000.
And they say there's nothing in the CR saying that.
Exactly. I think it's important that it's in there.
Yep.
So there you go, Attorney Para. we would, not only would we like the language in there, but we really would like the money paid up front to SVT. And then if you guys want to have the homeowners reimburse the developers, that's your business.
So then I would ask that we be allowed to pay that over the first 10 occupancy permits. So that'll be, in the early stages of the
what's the build out? What's the build out schedule planned for right now?
Well, the 33 units and Steve likes to go just as quickly as he can sell them. But there isn't, as far as I know anyway, there isn't this, specific schedule in the sense of I could tell you that by December 1 of 2021, X number of units will have been sold.
I think we at least need an upfront payment, and then maybe a portion of it can be paid out over the rest. But I think we should have something up front.
Well, not only that, but I have to get SVT's approval.
Well, that too.
I mean, so Attorney Perry, I could ask them that.
Mhm.
If that were to be the case, I would want some language in the conservation restriction about, when the last payment is made, like a date,
Yeah.
So no, over the 10 first occupancy permits, but no later than
Mhm.
X,
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right.
So I will email SVT about this.
Great.
So, and thanks to the map, I didn't realize that shaded area is part of parcel B. The way the maps and the lines, I always thought it was part of parcel B. That was part of the thing that was hanging me up.
Oh.
And then I finally went, the other day I went over, I would still look at the map and I was trying to figure, so I went over all the measurements, the surveyor's measurements, and realized that I was mistaken. So that whole thing now makes a lot more sense to me.
Good.
Okay, well, this is good progress, I think. So,
And I'll give this a draft of this additional language for the monitoring and the payment. And then, assuming that's acceptable to the commission, are we ready to move on to review by town council and the Commonwealth? Or
well, I can't make any promises yet, but maybe by next meeting, and hopefully we'll be able to move it on at that point.
Okay.
Right. I think this is the last sticking point, though.
Yeah. So we're just about there, and Attorney Perry, I thank you for your diligence and patience.
Thank you. Next meeting is
The 20th, and I'll put you in at 7:30.
and I'll ditch the tie.
You don't have to. I kind of like it. It offsets Steve. Steve is muted right now. He doesn't know it.
Oh yeah, I caught that. Hey, what else does he have to do on a Wednesday night?
Thank you very much. All right.
Good night.
Yeah, good night. Okay, it's now, it's not 8 o'clock yet, so we're going to move on to other stuff. I'm going to go to mail and notices on the agenda. So my first thing has to do with the Salmon Pond Mall check. It did not arrive in 2020. Oh, yes. So, and I checked on the very last day of the month, and I sent out an email, but June was actually already on top of it. June Poland, she had already, been, sending out, requests and stuff, reminders and requests. And then she was on vacation last week and was going to look into it this week. I sent out an email, and Margaret got back to me that there was no update yet. So,
are they not responding?
They're correct. Or if they're responding, it's slowly and inadequately. But we now, Margaret, the treasurer, the accountant, and myself are all now sort of like on this, and I'm certainly sure as hell not gonna let this one go. So we'll just keep pestering until we get the money.
This isn't tied to, I know they were trying to get out of paying taxes or something, right?
That's a separate issue, but also indicative of their financial troubles.
That's what I'm wondering, yeah.
The malls took it hard.
Yeah.
But
But you can't just not pay.
Yeah, I still want the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm not gonna let that go.
Yeah.
So malls are still very lucrative businesses.
Yeah, exactly. They're not hurting that bad.
Okay, next mail item is that there was an email exchange concerning Marlborough Road. And
Oh.
Child or Schmidt, one of the two. Judy Schmidt, yep. She is now looking over the report. There was some back and forth concerning the site plans, and it turns out that, so I'm quoting Kyle McDonald's email, we are going to revert back to the original plan. So remember that second plan where they were violating the 25-foot no touch policy on top of everything?
Yeah.
They dropped that. They went back to the original site plan.
And DEP is going to approve that?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
I just know that she's looking it over right now.
I see.
I'm just giving you an update.
Yeah.
So, John, just for can I speak?
Please, Walter.
Just for a clarification, so does that mean that they will not be going over that little strip of wetlands there?
No, that means they're going over that strip of wetlands. There was.
Excuse me?
They will be going over the strip of wetlands. Yes. So to refresh your memory, as part of their request for superseding order of conditions from DEP, they actually gave us a newer site plan that expanded the footprint of the lawn and violated the 25-foot no-touch Berlin wetland policy.
Yeah.
Sort of as a
Par for the course.
But they have.
Gotcha.
I just learned that they have retracted that and are going with the original site plan. So they will be sticking with the 25-foot no-touch policy.
All right.
So that's just for clarification. Okay. All right. Next, wetlands issues. Highland Ridge, DEP 1070245. Patrick continues to monitor it, and things look great. So, I mean, I can show you his report, but basically things look great.
Good.
So 100 River Road West. Let me pull something up. There's been progress.
From the property owner or DEP?
The property owner via Dave Burke. So there was some email exchanges, and let me just read this. So this is to Denise Child of DEP. Hi, Denise. After much coaching, I've encouraged W&E Landscaping to engage an engineer. They could not come up with one in months, so I directed them to Beals and Thomas, my former employer. I'm meeting with an engineer on site. What did the field inspector know? Blah, 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 blah. So they set up a time for this Thursday at 2:30 p.m. So if anyone is interested in being this tomorrow, in being there, it's tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. And what I would recommend is emailing Dave Burke or calling Dave Burke to just let them know that you'll be there if anyone's interested in also being there. Okay.
Walter's
Walter, I'm just going to do that
gesturing.
for you. Oh, do you want to talk? Or are you saying you'll be there?
I want to talk.
Please.
Oh, thank you. I actually showed up at 2:30 today by mistake, but I talked to Dave. I'll be there at 2:30 tomorrow.
Perfect.
And, I want to know that, I will be very strict about it. I grew up there. Danford Tyler, the owner of that farm, was basically a Henry David Thoreau of Berlin. That guy was great. And I know exactly what that place looked like, where the lay of the land was, and I will be there and make sure that they do it correctly. Straighten
Thank
up.
you, Walter.
It's a terrible mess, believe me.
I'm grateful you'll be there. And it was only half a mistake, Walter, because it was originally scheduled for today, and they rescheduled it.
I got mixed up.
You had the right time.
No, they originally scheduled it for today at 2:30. Then they rescheduled it for tomorrow at 2:30.
I sent you with a rather terse note, but he told me they had changed it, so I missed out on it. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, his emails are pithy.
What?
His emails are pithy.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, great. Next up on wetlands issues, 32 Allen Road. Walter, you had some interactions with the homeowner there?
Yes. I looked at the site, which is actually off of West Street, but the address is Allen Road. Allen Road lot runs from Allen Road, where the frontage is, all the way over to West Street. Frankly, I don't know whether there's 100 feet on each street or not, but nevertheless, the violation really occurred just off West Street, which Steve should have noticed and been on top of, but excuse me for that. But nevertheless,
the pictures show it, Walter. Worth 1,000 words, the pictures I took.
Anyway, I walked it with him, and he held the, I held the dumb end of the tape, he held the smart end, we measured it off, and I calculated the fill, which I think was a little overblown, and I'm thinking it's like 150 yards. I think it was more like 80 yards or something. But anyway, I think I'm going to visit again maybe tomorrow and go see the guy. It's I don't want to say too much on this public situation, but the poor guy is.
Yeah. Now, Walter, you had mentioned to me in the email that you wanted some company next time.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stress, and I don't want to.
So, can anybody accompany Walter tomorrow?
I can't.
I'm not available until 3:30 at the earliest.
Well, let's go take a look at it at 3:30, Carolyn.
All right.
That
You
would
want
be
me to
great.
meet you there, or do you want to come meet me at my house after you finish up at West Street?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
wait.
I mean at River Road.
River Road is 2:30, so I should be out of there by 3. And then I come to your place. When are you home?
I get out of work at 3 in Marlboro, so I usually get home around 3:20.
I'll be at your place. Well, listen, why don't we meet at the coffee shop at Berlin Center at, you name it.
I can go right there, so I can be there at like 3:30.
3:30. All right.
3:30 at the general store.
I'll see you there.
All right.
And so, Walter, where did he go? Oh, Walter, you'll let the homeowner know that you'll be there at like 3:35.
Absolutely.
All right.
He's very confused. Yep, we'll do that. Okay, Carolyn, deal.
All right.
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right. Cool. Still not 8 o'clock. So annual report. I emailed everybody the annual report, and I'm sure you've read every single word, and it was gripping reading.
Twice. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about sending it to
I
the New York
actually did.
Times. Yeah.
I thought it was well done,
Well, thank you.
especially since I didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who had to do it. Yeah.
Yep.
It was easier the second time around.
Yeah.
It was, last year was a lot more painful, but because I didn't know.
Did you get my?
I didn't even know what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Did you get my suggestion that we include the name of the Mountain Laurel Trail?
Yes.
All right.
I haven't had a chance to add that in. I'm surprised I didn't add that in, actually.
Yeah, I think that's why it stood out. There was something else that I noticed the first time I read it, but it didn't stick out the second time. So it must have not been quite as important.
Yeah, so you read it twice also.
Well, I read it once and then I read it again when I could actually comment on it.
Well, it's like Hamlet. You just want to read it over and over.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't
Be
go that
or
far.
not to be.
I didn't quite get that much out of it.
Well, you can write it next year, Steve.
No, you're doing good. I don't, he's getting the praise. I wouldn't want to take that away.
Mr.
Oh,
Chairman,
thank you, Steve. Yes, Walter.
Carolyn, what time are we meeting?
3:30.
Okay. I had
You better call him at 3.
Carolyn,
right.
please, I'm 78.
I know, no, it's
You
all
don't look a
good.
day over 90, Walter.
I know. Okay.
All right.
Wait, when we visited that wetland, that NOI or what? DOA.
RDA. RDA.
Very insulting to me. I want you to know.
I was not. I just said that you were older than the house. That's all.
Very denigrating remarks. It's a good thing I know Steve Pierce because he knows that I'm a great guy.
That's what he said. All right. Old business. 60. He did say that actually.
Yes.
Old business, 64 Banner Road. So remember this came up a couple of meetings ago. There was a self-reported wetlands violation with wood chips. And then it snowed and blah, 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 you know, and I just didn't bring it up last meeting. So there's no snow on the ground now or none. So we probably should go over to a site visit at some point, you know. I could be next Wednesday morning, I get my vaccine.
Woohoo!
wow.
I was
My first
wondering when
shot.
you, yeah.
Yeah, well, Jess got hers December 28th because she's more important. The
Right, well, she's more in the trenches than you are.
Clearly,
much more.
No, you got it right the first time. More important, period.
right.
Both. It's both. So I get mine on next Wednesday morning, and then I gotta do some errands in Worcester, and but I can be available in the afternoon next Wednesday, or on the weekends, either this weekend or next weekend, because no one does anything anymore.
Okay. John, next Wednesday? Whatever.
Yeah, okay. So Wednesday afternoon, all right. I will email them and see if you and I can do it next Wednesday afternoon.
All right, I want you to know that I cleared land there with old Freddie Seymour at with axes and crosscut saws in
16.
1954. Rolled the land. Not 18, 19.
That's hard work, Walter.
I'm so honest to God, I feel great. I love this town.
Oh, I do too. But that's hard work, Walter. Hand saws and axes, that's hard work doing that kind of clearing.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. We cleared that whole area, cleared the wetlands, filled it in, and
Nice.
Whoa.
Nice.
What?
Well, there
better.
there
Can we
wasn't
do
a
a
law then,
retrospective?
but-
Worthless land, we had to make it into something.
We could do a retrospective enforcement order on Walter.
There you go.
Yes, yes.
John, just so you know, we do have a phone call in, which I believe is the phone number that you had said earlier.
Yep, we got 4 minutes. It's a
Okay, yep.
public meeting, so
Yep.
I do have to start on at 8.
Yep, just letting you know they're here.
Okay, thanks. That's Steve.
John?
Next up.
Yes, I just want to mention that the zoning board is holding a hearing on 64 Banner Road. That's where
Yes.
C3 Industries is hoping to build. So
Or I think build, is it build or refurbish?
I'm not sure, but that's where they want to locate their dispensary.
Yeah, more,
Right.
that's what we need. It'll be the third one within like a mile radius. So maybe 2 miles, but I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, there's a building there that exists. So I think maybe they're just refurbishing it.
I'm not sure, but that's where they want to locate the business. The hearing is on January 13th. And they're also discussing the roads, capes of Berlin. He wants to make some more changes to the plans.
Right. So and that's the place on South Street?
South Street,
Yeah.
right. And 157 Lyman Road, which is a new building going up, they want to add an apartment to the site.
A new
Yeah, I
building?
think it's one of the lots that sold. We actually did the NOI on it.
Yeah, we have there's an active
it's-
OOC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
it's that was our
It's-
parking lot OC.
Right.
And
No, there
Yeah,
was
I
an
mean,
in-law because of
doesn't-
the driveway.
right.
no,
But
well,
I believe this in-law apartment doesn't really change the footprint at all. It doesn't really
I agreed that that's the in-law has been on the plan from day one.
Right.
Or in their plan, I should say.
If the Board of Health approves the leach field and septic system and it's all right with us. it's a-
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, Louise, the hearing on roads on the South Street thing, that is also on the 13th?
Right, all three of them are on the 13th.
Are there times for each one or just one after another?
I don't have the times. It would be one after another.
Right.
Right. And I think the Capes of Berlin is the first one. And then on Lyman Road and then Banner Road.
All right. Thanks, Louise. I'm just getting ready for the 8 o'clock meeting,
Okay, do you want me to promote him?
please.
Oh, he can't be a panelist because he's just on the phone. I can allow him to talk.
Okay.
All right, there he goes.
He's muted.
Still?
Yep.
Oh, hold on.
We might have to get the co-host and help it out here.
She's muted
No.
too.
Yeah, I see
I'm
that.
here.
Yeah, I'm
My
trying.
internet's unstable.
You can ask to
Yes.
unmute, but
I
it
did
doesn't,
twice.
yeah, it seems to be not doing anything.
Right. John, you said his name is
There we go.
Steve?
Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Now
Yes,
we
we can
do. Yep.
see.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
All right. So this is Steve Sears of, what's the name of your outfit in
David
Harvard?
Ross.
Ross
Right.
Associates.
Live in
Yep,
Ber-
David Ross Associates.
All right.
We've met many
So-
times.
Yes. So should I go through the plan with you?
Yes, I
No.
will. Let me post. I'm going to screen share.
Okay.
You won't be able to. Well, maybe you can see it, but
Through the phone, that'd be pretty good.
no, you may also.
No.
Did you?
I have one in front of me. I can kind of try to guide you through it if you can kind of follow me.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think that the rest of the commission would take your or my word for anything.
What?
Well, maybe your
Here
word.
we go.
I don't know.
I would.
I
All right,
think I
Steve.
can't now.
I got the site
just
plan up.
Yeah.
All right, I got the site plan up, Steve.
Beautiful.
Okay. Again, this is for Dennis and Lori Farabee at 39 Walnut Street. It's the big house down on the right-hand side before the open meadow, before the old greenhouses. And they're selling, so they had a Title V inspection done, which failed. Obviously, it was an old system. Presently, the system right now is approximately 35 to 45 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland line that was delineated. What we've tried to do is maximize the offset from the wetlands and still maintain the 100-foot offset from the well. We did try to test up in the front of the house to stay completely out of the wetlands area, the buffer zone, but we hit ledge there. And then as we came down the hill on the other side of the driveway, to the left of the driveway, we hit ledge again, but then all of a sudden we hit a couple of decent holes down there, and the Board of Health fellow and I said, well, we can't make a 100-foot offset from the wetlands, but at least we can meet Title V with it. And so we designed it there. Our septic system is approximately 75 feet from the border vegetated wetlands. Again, Title V calls for 50. And we do have some grading in the buffer zone too. But it's a kind of a flat area. There is some plantings that were in there by the Farabys years ago, but basically it's kind of a sparse area. And we've shown a continuous silt fence, silt barrier completely around the whole area to prevent any erosion that is made out of straw wattles, I guess they call them.
And
again, yep, go ahead.
Straw wattles and silt fence.
Yes, combination.
Yes. Okay.
That's correct. Yep.
That's on the site plan. Yeah.
Yes,
it's
on sheet 1.
Okay.
So again, there's no new construction or anything. It's just trying to fix the failing septic system, and we again try to maximize it up in that corner towards the street. That's about it.
And it's a Presby system, correct?
Yes, it is. So that's a little bit better. Apparently the Presby is better for the water quality, and we still maintain a 4-foot groundwater offset, which meets Title V on that too. So that helped. We tried to do a stone and pipe conventional system, but it was just so large, it just wasn't fitting. So.
Yeah, I personally prefer a Presby system when it's that close to the wetlands.
Okay, yeah, right, because it'll help the environment and the groundwater.
Yeah, it's just a cleaner water that ends up leaving the system.
Right, exactly.
Now, is this a built up? Do you have to bring fill in?
What, Steve?
Me?
Do
you have to bring fill in? Is this a raised system?
Yes, it's a raised system because we had, let's see, estimated high groundwater about 26 to 32 inches in the ground. So we had to elevate it 4 feet above that.
Okay.
So it's designed with a new septic tank and a pump chamber to a distribution box, and then the Presby trenches.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the slope. So I'm seeing 105 by the system. I'm seeing down by the river. I'm seeing what?
95.
98.
98 down by the
97, 95.
95 right on the edge.
Yeah,
okay,
95 along the border. Yep.
All right. So, okay, it's not a huge slope.
No.
No, it's a pretty gentle slope.
Right.
And
is the work planned to be done for in the winter?
I don't think so. I talked to Lori, actually talked to her today. She said they had a prospective buyer, but they weren't going to close until I think the end of this month or the beginning of February. So I'm hoping that if we have a couple feet of snow on the ground, they'll put it off until better weather, like maybe March or April. In fact, when it failed Title V, the new buyers can still purchase it. They have 2 years to replace it. So I don't think it's going to be built in the winter.
Right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Yes, Walter.
Yeah, as you know, I visited the site with you this morning, and I don't see any alternative to this. This has to be an upgrade, and on a new house, it may be a little touch and go, but this is an existing house. And I think this is the best location and the best solution for that house at this particular time. It looked good to me. I don't see any alternative.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Walter. I agree with you. Any other thoughts or questions?
Nope, I'm just saying the ledge in front of the house was that high, huh?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. In fact, we hit ledge in, I think, every hole except the 2 or 3 holes in the leach area were acceptable. The other ones were quite a bit shallower. So the ledgy area. I think the houses
too, Steve.
What's that?
Yeah.
I asked that.
I was going to say, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I know the property, so.
Okay.
Beautiful spot.
Yeah, my only question, John, when you sent the plans around earlier was, can we do this as an RDA and not an NOI?
Correct. And the reason is because there's a fair amount of disturbance within the 100-foot
Right.
wetland. My feeling is that because it's a fairly gentle slope and that this is all, there's grown in around here, there's a fair amount of vegetation, and that we could probably do that. On a practical level, it's going to essentially be the same intervention. What we would want would be embedded silt fence and straw wattle, which will be along this line here.
Yep.
Either way. So I think from a practical basis, we end up in the same spot anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree that it's the best spot and everything. I just want to make sure that allowing it under an RDA is legal, is okay.
yeah, I believe so. From my reading of the RDAs, there's I can pull it up now.
Chairman?
Yeah.
Yeah, Carolyn makes a good point, but when you really look at it, as we did this morning, and look at the plan, there's no alternative.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
It's not so much the alternative she's talking about. It's the
Formality.
Right.
or the protocol.
Right.
So
I think the notion or the fact that there's no alternative, I think justifies an RDA, but maybe not.
well, it justifies an acceptance on our part, but which is a little different. I'm just
Right.
trying to get the specific language here.
And since the outcome's the same, why wouldn't we just do it the other way? Because it's more work for them.
Right.
Right. Well, it's more work and it's money. And I mean, again, as long as it's okay for us to do it as an RDA, I'm fine with that. I'm not looking to make anything difficult for anybody. I just want to make sure that
We're doing our part the right way.
exactly.
So on the determination of applicability form, WPA form 2, under negative determination, the box that I would check off would say the work described in the request is within the buffer zone as defined in the regulations, but will not alter an area subject to protection under the act, that is the wetlands. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of a notice of intent subject to the following conditions, if any. The conditions being that, a silt fence and straw wattle erosion protection will be put in place according to the site plan, and that a member of the Conservation Commission must inspect the erosion control prior to work starting.
Works for me.
Okay.
Yep.
Does that work for everybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like it covers it.
All right. Does that work for you, Steve?
Yeah. That says,
Yes,
sounds
in
like it
fact,
covers
I'll
it.
make-
Oh, sorry. Wrong Steve.
I'll make sure. Oh,
Sorry, Steve. Yeah.
I'll
Steve
make
Sears.
sure that, yes, I'll make sure whoever installs the system, it's probably going to be Mike Sawyer. He's the one that did the testing for them. And I believe he put their system in up on Highland Street at their other house. But I'll make sure that slip area is staked out for them and it's installed prior to any construction. In fact, if you'd like, John, I could call you and let you know that's in if you want to come down and make an inspection.
I would like that very much. Right. So yeah, I or my designee must inspect it before any work begins.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, that'll work. So I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative determination.
So move.
Is there a second? Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Third.
So roll call vote, and then I do have a discussion about practicality issues. So roll call vote. Carolyn?
Aye.
John, aye. Louise?
Aye.
Walter?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Robin?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
All right. So Steve Sears, I'll get the paperwork and I'll mail you a copy. I'll mail the Faraday's the original, and then I'll send it in DEP. Okay. And I mean,
Wonderful.
okay.
Yeah,
Now,
and again, she told me they had a closing coming up the end of this month, so there's no rush on that. If you want to get it done in a week or two, that's fine too.
Okay, all right. Yes, Louise?
I couldn't hear who moved and who seconded.
Walter moved, and I don't remember who seconded.
I did. Carolyn.
So Carolyn claims it.
And I third. Write that
Please.
down, Louise. I
Yeah.
third it.
I will. I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
Okay, now here's the, Walter, you had a question?
Steve?
Yep.
Yes.
Where's Steve?
Which
Is
Steve?
David retired or what?
Actually, David is retired.
Okay.
Although
Ross
he-
was
he seems-
you
Yeah,
lived
he seems
on the road.
to show up at the office quite a bit still.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, he's officially retired. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just for the edification, Dave Ross is a blue blood Yankee. Not that that's something that especially be proud of, but
Well, that means they didn't work,
nevertheless,
Walter.
nevertheless, he's incredibly honest. He grew up on Summer Road. His mother played the organ in the church all her life, and very honest, very sincere, loved Berlin. And this is a group of people that you can go into with a positive attitude. And so, Steve, thanks for your work on this.
I'll
Well,
second
no
that.
problem. And I just want to point out that I too am originally from Berlin
That's
until
right.
I got married. And
Well, that was
my
your-
mother played in the same choir that Dave's mother played the organ in
Isn't
back
that
in
something?
Berlin. So
Huh? Yeah.
I've been with Dave. I started with Dave Ross in 1971 when we worked at Perkins Engineering, and then of course Dave went on his own after the
Oh, yeah.
Perkins
That's
did
great.
close
That's
down.
great. Perkins. Yeah.
So, yep. So I've been with Dave for quite a few years.
The house that Steve's talking about is that single house across the street from the quarry on Sawyer Hill Road down there. He grew up there, and then they moved up on Highland Street there. But yeah, his mother and
Yep.
father were great folks, and
Yeah. All right, one more thing, and Steve, before you sign off. So I found
Okay.
out this afternoon that my office manager has COVID-19.
Oh,
So my last exposure to her was on Monday, but we were wearing masks and stuff.
Yep.
And then she was concerned on Tuesday. She didn't come in. So I haven't, I'm asymptomatic. I was just looking over the protocols. As long, I feel fine. I probably, but, the chances of my being exposed to her are pretty low just because of the mask thing.
John, you and I hugged
Right.
this morning. I'm sick about that.
What? We kissed?
okay.
So, Stephen, Walter, this morning I was in the same yard as you, but we all had masks on. So at least, yeah. So
Yeah.
you're out.
All right. Well, I'll keep aware of that, obviously.
Well, Steve, if I
as
get
do.
sick, I will let you know. Okay. The same
Yes,
with you, Walter.
please do, and then
I'll-
I can get tested too.
but I am.
I can attest it's not that bad. At least for
Carolyn's
me, it
had
wasn't.
So, but I am asymptomatic, and I think the risk
Okay.
is low because of the masks that and the fact that.
Yes.
And she didn't get symptomatic really till.
And actually, we really didn't stand too close to each other, so that's good.
All right. But it does leave, so with this RDA, I will type it up. So then,
Okay.
the thing is, we need 4 signatures. I don't know if I could type it up and email it to like one of you who then can get 4 signatures and then just stick it back in my mailbox and I can do the mailing. That way I don't have to go around and visit people and stuff.
Do you want to just do it on your porch again? And we
I
just-
can. So it depends on people's level of worry. So like the virus doesn't live on surfaces. It's really that the real risk with the virus is indoors. But it doesn't really survive on surfaces very long. So yes, I'm happy to do that. I just don't know what people's level of worry is. Like Carolyn, she could lick the form. It wouldn't matter. She already had-
Exactly. I
So-
can give you a kiss.
Yes, yes. So
Jess might have something to say about that, but
she's good with knives. She's very good
Oh.
with knives. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, so I mean, I can leave it on the porch and Robin can sign and Carolyn can sign and I can sign, but that still leaves other people. So I don't know how people want to handle this. Or we could just wait a week. And if I continue to be asymptomatic, then I'll come over and give Steve a hug and make him sign it.
Yeah, you can wait a week. I don't think she's in that much of a rush.
Okay, all right, that's what I'll do. I will wait a week and then we'll sign it in a week. And if I'm asymptomatic by a few more days, then it basically, I don't have to worry about it.
Okay, good enough. Good enough, John. I hope you stay well.
Oh, thank you, Steve. I hope you stay well too. I will warn people, it is everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, so because I was just talking to one of my surgeon buddies, one of his staff has, it's just everywhere right now. So please be careful. It's way worse in this area now than it was in the spring.
Totally. Yeah.
It's much worse. It's much worse. So it really does pay to be pretty careful right now. Like it was all just fine up until like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
maybe 8 weeks ago now. Time flies.
yeah, I was going to say it was about 8 weeks ago that I got it.
Yeah. Maybe.
You
I
had
don't
it,
know.
Carolyn?
Yep.
How was it?
It wasn't, we were very lucky. Me and Savannah and Glenn all had it.
Mhm.
We got it from Glenn, who got it from an 83-year-old customer of his.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was like having a bad cold.
Yeah.
The fatigue was a bummer. That definitely lasted a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
My sense of smell is still a little messed up. I smell wood smoke all the time. So
Yeah.
that's fun. My
Oh.
house could be on fire and I'd have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
You and Glenn and the whole family is strong. It's the average age is 81 for terminal illness. But-
Is it?
Well, that's
But
good.
there are relative risk issues. There are people that are just unlucky though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, the scariest part, not to go off on a tangent here or anything, but the scariest part was getting the phone call and saying, yes, you're positive, and not knowing what was going to happen in the next week.
Where did you get tested, Carolyn?
Over at the New England Sports Center.
Yeah, I went by
Yeah.
here the other day. I didn't know what it was about. There was so
Yeah.
many-
Hundreds of cars.
Yep.
Hundreds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Took me 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours to get it done in Worcester because I had to go in for a
Ooh.
colonoscopy. So I had to have it done, but I've been negative.
Yeah, we sat in the car for 2.5 hours.
Oh,
But other than that, it was very smooth. It was very organized. You know, they did a great job. So, you know, bring a book and a blanket so you don't have to keep your car running. And
that's crazy.
How long did it take, Carolyn?
we were in line for 2.5 hours.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Same in Worcester. Same thing. About 3 hours it took me.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they're lined up at the hospital in Leominster every day.
Yep. But we also got our results back like 24 hours later.
To bring
Oh,
it
that's good.
here and get
Yeah.
one in and
Yep. So, all right. Well, we have 3 people who are in the audience for our next meeting.
Yes.
All right, I want to thank
everybody.
everybody very much for their time tonight.
Thank you, Steve. It was a pleasure.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Steve.
Yep.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Okay. This is actually COCs aren't neither a hearing or a meeting, so we
So
can
we can-
start. So we can ask them if everybody, if they're all present, if they're expecting any other people, because we can start. We don't have to wait till 8:30.
All right. So here's Jean Crouch. Here's Matt Oates. And here is Wayne Amico, who I assume is also with Benderson or related to this project.
Hi, this is Gene Crouch.
Hey, Jean.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I don't know, how do I turn myself on? Oh, here it is.
Muted.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, Wayne is with VHB.
Okay.
He's a senior project engineer, project manager with.
Not hearing him. Are you hearing him? Oh, yep.
Sorry,
You can't.
Sorry, I'm here, guys.
Oh, he also works part-time for the town of Maynard. Like the town of Maynard seal was showing on his.
Yep. And then Matt
and-
Oates is right there.
Yep.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Good to
Good.
see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
Yeah. I was thinking about it the other day. It was 4 years, a little over 4 years since we first started talking about a COC for this project.
Right.
So
Because-
we expedited this one.
Yeah. Yeah, because Savannah was just about to leave for college
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember-
and she graduated this spring. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Nice.
Flies, huh?
Yeah.
Time goes
Yeah.
by
and,
quick, huh?
from her bedroom, but
Wow. Well, we're here for the, as
Yep.
Carolyn mentioned,
I'm-
the certificate of compliance for the Highland Commons project in Berlin. We're actually going to be in front of Hudson tomorrow night for the same issue for the Hudson portion of the project. When we first started talking about this, there were some items that came up on a site walk that needed some attention in the back of the property in Berlin. It's actually off the shopping area, but down in the back where the mitigation areas were supposed to be. And so we created a punch list for that, and Benderson had a contractor go out and make some repairs to certain things and do some other work. We made sure all that was done. I actually went out again last year and did some minor correction on a few things that just to make sure everything was working fine. And we went through a year to make sure some of the plants were growing that we had planted back there. And we seeded an area with little blue joint grass, and it's growing. It's certainly better than it was in a sandy area. And we figured it was about time that we come back to you with a request for the COC now.
yeah, I
So-
took a walk back there. I don't even remember in the last like 5 days or so. And I took some pictures to just show current conditions. But I've definitely been working with Jean and Matt and Pam Helnick from Hudson on this for 4 years. Dave Burke helped us out. So I definitely don't see any reason not to do this, but I can show pictures if people want.
Well, we should have a formal site visit, right, Carolyn?
If you would like.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Does it look like Jean's background? The mountains and the snow covered?
Yeah, it looks just like
It
that.
does, it does. You'd be shocked. Yeah. But I can,
Carolyn,
Huh.
I'm sorry. Am I able to share my screen? I can put a plan up maybe for reference so that you guys can look at it.
Why?
Sure.
Yeah, I also I have that plan, but go ahead, please.
Thank
Well,
you.
we took the as-built plans and I added some color to it that Wayne is going to be showing.
Oh, that's better. Yeah.
Yeah, it just gives you a little idea where the wetlands were, where the resource areas are, that sort of thing in relation to all the development.
Can you enlarge the picture a bit?
yeah, so it's mostly the lower right portion that there were issues.
Right.
Yeah, kind of the blue area was where we did the restoration, and probably waiting a couple years and this taking a little longer probably kind of helped it grow in and get a better idea of how it's really.
Yeah, it's
growing and
crazy
developing.
how, yeah. Actually, while you guys do that, I'm gonna look through my pictures and see if I can find some old ones from 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's quite thick out there now.
Yeah, it is.
It's grown up really well. So just to orient you, the purplish line across the top is the town line where it cuts through the development. So
Yep.
anything south of that line is Berlin. So the gray areas, those are the buildings, the stores and so forth that are up there. The parking areas is pretty obvious. The green are wetland areas that were identified during the original filing. The green line is the 100-foot buffer zone. The blue line is riverfront, and the sort of a light blue blob is a detention basin. And the dark blue blob is a, the thing Wayne was just circling. That's a pond that was constructed during construction as a settling basin for any runoff that came off the back of the site while it was being constructed. It was left in place, and we decided after seeing it, not realizing it was still there, that it wouldn't be a good idea to leave it. It's a pond feature back there that didn't previously exist. We retained that, and it's still there. And we actually planted around it a little bit to augment the vegetation along the edges of it.
Yeah, and we pulled back one side so it wasn't as steep
Right,
for easier access for wildlife.
right. Yeah, some of the things that we needed to do there's an infiltration system that was built in the base of the embankment along that side, just kind of above where that pond is and heading over to the corner down in there. It wasn't completed correctly, and so we had to repair that a little. Water was just basically coming down the basin or the piping system into the sort of distribution manhole and just spilling out the bottom of it. So we had someone come in and repair that, fix that so that it actually held back the water and forced it into perforated pipes that run parallel to the toe of the slope so that the water would then infiltrate rather than just running out. And that seems to be working. In fact, there's a water breakout in a lot of places along the bottom, and there's a lot more wetland out there than was there when we originally did this work. That whole back area is an old sand and gravel pit. Part of the reason we had trouble getting some stuff growing there originally is because it's a very sandy, droughty, dry soil. And some of the plants we put in there, we put about 100 plants of sweet fern, which is a plant that typically grows under those circumstances. They all died. There is sweet fern kind of growing in on its own, but anything we planted didn't make it. So we went back and replanted it with the blue joint grass, because that really likes a sandy, dry soil. And it's going to take a little while to get in totally, but it's definitely a lot better than it was.
Yeah, and I'm sad to report, Jean, that all of the plantings you did along the edge of the pond, I don't think one of them has grown.
Really?
Yeah, I have some pictures.
Well, it may be that they dropped their leaves. I mean, if you just went out.
No, there's at least there's nothing around the flags growing up.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, but everything else has filled in so nicely that it doesn't. I mean, the point of the planting was to stabilize the sides.
Right.
And it's certainly stable now. So.
Oh.
So I just found a picture of the original blowout from the infiltration system, if anybody is interested.
Yes.
Stop sharing, Carolyn.
Yes. Before you do though, is this the dark blue or the light blue we're talking about, Carolyn?
The dark
blue. What's on the right of the screen? The left of the screen is just a detention pond for the storm center, the shopping center.
Okay, so stop share and maybe Carolyn can share then.
All right, now I need to share. Oh, crud. All right, hold on here. Here we go.
You can do it. You can do it.
I can do it. Yes, I can. And there we go. Can everybody see? Hold on.
Yep. There you go. Yep.
All right, so that is what it looked like. This was 2017.
Right.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, see the bottom there where you can just see the water had just been coming out of there, and all of this eroded from that. And that was what wow, wait till you see the picture from almost this
Yeah, this
view
is so
that I took.
different now.
Yeah. So that's kind of the water just all in here. So all of this has now been repaired. This was just kind of laid there. Yeah, you can see how that whole hillside was just blown out.
Yeah.
All right, that's a different.
Nice picture.
Yeah. All right.
I know, I'm trying to close it. Okay, so
We're
so
seeing everything now. We're seeing
I
everything
know,
now.
yeah, whatever. There's really nothing all that. So here is the edge of the pond.
Yeah.
Looks like some animal tracks or something
Yeah.
in there.
It's like turkey.
Turkeys.
Yeah. Yep. Wow, look at this, huh? It's just so different. Oh, so the other problem was that the water, there was nothing slowing the erosion coming down this hill. So this is a access from the back of the shopping center down into this area. So we had them put some check dams along the side, and that seems to have helped that quite a bit as well.
Yeah, it definitely made a difference.
Yeah. All right, that's a different construction job. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second so I can go back through my pictures and show you what it looked like the other day.
Yeah, it looks so much better than that now. It's amazing.
So, yeah, so different. All right, so here. I'm gonna share again over here. Oh, for heaven's sakes. There we go. All right. So see your flags there, Jean?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, we when we were planting them, the plants were in what's called a tubling, a 2-inch diameter tubling, and so it's a sprouted plant. It's not very big. We started planting them, and we literally couldn't find them again. It was so thick. So we started sticking little flags in place where we put them in, so that we knew where they were when we put them in.
So you can see how this has all become vegetated now. The trash is significantly better back there since there's no plastic bags allowed. But all of these trees here have grown up and filled this in. So this
is that holding water now too? Pretty well.
Yeah,
it looks like.
Yep.
Which it wasn't before. Really.
Well, after when you fix the blowout, we had some of the water directed into there to feed the pond. Yeah.
Yeah, the overflow from that system is actually piped down to the
Yeah,
pond.
now it is. Yes, so which wasn't before. Yep.
Correct. Yeah, and the overflow at the other end. So this is just all along the edge of this now. And it's just grown in tremendously in the past couple of years.
Right.
So did I take, so this is the other end where the culvert is.
Right. Yeah, there hadn't been a culvert. That was part of what we did, was we actually put a culvert from this pipe, from this pond to the adjacent wetland.
Yeah.
It was just eroding out a channel. And so we put a stabilized means for the water to flow between the two rather than just
and you can see here it was running nicely. The wetlands down in here are definitely being fed well. So kind of hard to see, but there, it's all wet back in here from that. So, but yeah.
I was actually out, I stopped by in July to take a look at things.
Yeah.
I've got a picture of that pond and you almost don't even see the water in it. There's so much cattail growing in it. Right now,
Yeah.
cattail's died back so you can see more water, but the pictures that I took, you almost couldn't see the water.
Yep.
The blue dot in that photo.
Yeah,
Those, yeah, go ahead, Gene.
yeah, those are the pin flags that we used to highlight where we had planted something.
Okay, okay.
There should be pink flags also interspersed in there. We
Yeah.
put-
Yeah.
yeah, there's one. So we used the two different colors to differentiate between the species that we planted.
And what was it again that you planted?
We planted pussy willow and silky dogwood.
Right.
In July, when I was out there, I found, I found the plants. They were growing.
Oh, okay.
They weren't very tall yet. Still, they were, maybe 6 inches tall or so, maybe a little bit more. And they all seemed to be growing healthy. That was early on in the summer. So, maybe the drought took its toll too. I don't know.
Right. Although I think it stayed pretty wet back there.
Well, the pond level was down quite a bit when I was there in July. It still had water in it, but it was quite low.
Yeah.
I have those photos from Gene from July. If you guys would like to see them, I can share. Let me know.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Chairman.
Oh, so there was just one more thing. So the other thing that we had discovered was that there was a straight, so this all used to be a trail system all back in here. And this trail, so this is past this, probably not quite into Hudson yet, but getting there. And ATVs were using this. But so they put these rocks in here to discourage ATVs, and dirt bikes can still get through here. But if you go up a little bit further, a big giant pine has fallen in the past couple of months and blocked and blocked this access now.
Oh, good.
So I think that maybe, yeah, it just the whole entire thing is totally blocked now.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes, Walter.
Yeah, Carolyn, that's good. If we can't control motorized vehicles on our conservation land, we're in trouble. So we really need to go after this. If you let me know, or the environmental police will come out and enforce that. So,
right.
Incidentally, I have a photo I would like to show of this area to show that it's really recovered quite well. How do I get it on there? I have it, I've copied it and I have it right now. How do I show it?
Well, is it open on your screen, Walter? On a screen?
What, John?
Is it open on a screen? Can you see it on your computer screen?
I can, and I copied it.
So when Carolyn stops sharing, you'll see there's a little bottom. If you move your around.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, Carolyn. Sorry.
Okay. Just one more thing. So whatever these trees are, this is predominantly what's growing along the edge now. Anybody, Gene, do you recognize, especially these cones, I thought were distinctive.
That's probably speckled alder.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Some kind of alder, but.
Yeah, Olis incana. I noticed that when you showed the picture on the other side of the pond, I could definitely identify those. When you said all this has grown up, that was all, that's speckled alder. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's filling in naturally.
Yeah, that's a good plant.
Yep. So, all right, I can stop sharing now.
Great.
So Walter, if you move your mouse around at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little green button that says share screen.
Yeah.
So click that.
Yep.
and then a window will pop up and you'll
Yep.
see that there's various options of things you could share, and you want to share that picture.
Okay, wait a minute. Whiteboard, iPhone, Zoom, screen.
Well, you should see when you hit share screen, you should see a bunch of options of things to share. If your picture has been opened up already, if it's already opened up on one of a sub window.
Oh, look at him.
I
Look
think
at
he
him.
did it.
Oh, close.
Right.
Oh,
So now
so
you
close.
have to click on open that picture now, Walter. The one you wanted to share with us, open that picture.
Okay, back, save, refresh, casting, translate.
Now you don't want any of that.
I'm missing something here.
Where on your screen is the picture, Walter?
Well, it isn't on the screen right now.
Where was it?
Well, I picked it out of my photos, copied it, and I have it on my copy right now.
Well, you could just open up your photo. Those are cute.
They're so cute.
Oh.
Just open up your photos, Walter, and then just the way you would open up photos even if we weren't looking.
I did. Okay. Photos. Yeah. Let me see. Get down here. Hunting, meat cutting. Hunting. Come on.
Don't rename it. You want to click it. You want to open it.
Hunting deer. 2019, 18. Let's try 18. Come on. Well, I guess it won't work.
Getting there.
Just click it again, Walter.
Click on the icon, not the name. The little yellow thing.
Oh, wait a minute. I got it. Okay, this is what I want. This is what I want. Can you see that?
Yep.
That's awesome, Carolyn.
That's right.
Walter knocks on my door one day and he says, "Hey, I have a deer over here. You want to help me drag it out of the woods?"
Look at that. Who gets a beautiful bull and drag their deer out of the woods? That was just one. I had two. I was in a tree right at the toe of the slope of the Highland Commons. And, nailed one, and I sat there and waited. Pretty soon another one came along. This is the first one. Second one was bigger. But anyway, I had recruited this local gorgeous blonde to haul out my deer, and she was very willing. Can you
Local
see?
celebrity.
Huh?
Clearly, she's too kind.
Celebrity.
Excellent, Walter.
Carolyn,
All right.
sorry.
All right.
No, that's all right.
No, it's a good picture.
So good. You're so great.
All right. Hit stop share, Walter.
Yep.
It'll be on the top. Little red button says stop sharing.
Stop share. Stop share.
think-
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Now it was either Wayne or Matthew had some pictures they wanted to share.
Yeah, let me show you some pictures that Gene took in July.
Okay.
I believe, Gene, I'll let you narrate, but I believe this is that small pond you were mentioning.
This is the pond. This is where, and you can see the water level's down, but you can see how dense the cattail growth is in there. And, all the bushes around the edges are those sticks that were shown in Caroline's pictures with, now they've got leaves on them. You can see how dense it's growing along there.
Let me flip through.
Great.
There's some more here.
Oh, and Walter, there's some, go back to that one. There's some deer tracks in the mud right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. I'll put a stand there.
Maybe those deer tracks aren't there anymore. Not
Yeah,
after
right?
Walter got a hold of them.
Right.
Gene, it looks like these may be some of the things you planted.
Yeah.
You're one.
Right.
Yeah, there's not the, well, it's, I can't point to it because I can't show you my pointer, but it's the thing in the middle that's kind of coming up sideways.
This?
Yeah, that's a wood, a pussy willow that we planted.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
And then I believe this is some of the area that you started to reseed.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
area in the back that was all sand and gravel, and we had tried to plant things and it just totally didn't take. It was just all sand, like a sandbar. And we went back in and seeded this, and now there's stuff growing in it. And it's really, it's going to take a few years to fill it in, but all this, the sprigs of grass, it's a bunch grass. It's not like a lawn forming, turf forming grass, but all those sprigs of tufts of grass are all what we were trying to get in there.
Yep. There's a lovely autumn olive there too, huh?
Yeah. We pulled a lot of autumn olive out of here.
Yeah,
and,
you did.
and I don't know that it's ever going to get away, get
No,
off.
no, the bittersweet was brutal.
Yeah.
Walking in there, I could see the red berries all over the ground.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is just some pictures to just show that it actually is starting to grow. And a big part of getting this thing to actually grow is going to what Walter was talking about, is keeping the off-road bikes and things out of there.
Yeah.
They used to come
Motorized
in
bikes.
here and do donuts and things in here, and they, nothing had a chance. But they have stayed out of there, at least as of July when I was out there.
Yep.
These are some more of the plants that we planted. There's the thing sort of straight in the middle.
Yeah, I see. So is that the pussy willow?
No, that's actually that's a silky dogwood
Okay.
right there. Yep.
Gotcha, Carolyn.
Yes, and but now I know what to look for. But
Well,
it's so dense in there.
yeah, and they all do drop their leaves.
Okay.
So, if going out there now, you're just going to see a dead stick. It wouldn't even be obvious that it's alive.
Does
So that-
anything eat them? Like,
Oh,
do
yeah.
deer eat them?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's what happened in
It could
between
be.
when, yeah,
Yeah, it could be that's part of the problem. It's a big issue with wetland replication. When it gets planted, wildlife predation comes in and they can browse it. And, we see it all the time in our mitigation areas. We're going into a review.
right. Yeah, because I looked for sticks because I thought that what you had planted was more woody
Yep.
vegetation. And so I looked for sticks and I didn't see one.
Yeah,
So,
they, there's another one right there, right in front.
yep.
They will, it's a nice supple little woody thing. They'll lead it right to the ground.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And that's that. Like it won't come back next year.
It depends on how much they eat of it.
Right.
If they eat enough of it, they could kill it, but it
Yeah.
might actually come back.
All right.
So
Oh,
anyway, there's a chance, that it's going to come back, and we can, we'll keep an eye on it.
Right.
I think that was it, Gene, for the photos.
Yeah.
And also so the other thing that we did is we put up, what was it, 6 or 9 or 12 bluebird boxes?
6, yeah. Yep.
6, and then 4 or 5 kestrel boxes.
Right.
I did not climb up to the kestrel boxes, A, because the hill is so steep, and B,
Oh my
the
God.
boxes are so high. But
Yeah.
I did hike up the hill to one of the bluebird boxes, and they're definitely nesting, and I've definitely seen bluebirds in my yard.
Oh, great.
So
Perfect.
that appears to have been successful.
Yeah, I modified last summer. I went in and recovered all those, modified them, because when they were built, they need a door to open so you can pull the nesting material from the previous year out.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they were built with a door, only the door was on the top, and that's not the way they're supposed to be designed. So I rebuilt them and made it so the side would open. And,
Yeah, and I was able to pull that bent nail out with my hand.
Oh, good, good.
And made a mental note to bring a tool next time.
Yeah, they kind of rust and get in there and get a little stiff sometimes.
Yeah.
Get a pair of pliers to pull them out.
Yeah.
So, Carolyn, I didn't realize your visit there was so extensive, and this has been a very interesting virtual site visit. and you've been involved with this for quite some time. I mean, so you're quite satisfied that things look good and we could issue a COC based on
I
the
am.
information?
I
Okay.
am.
Okay.
But happy to go on a site walk with anybody who wants to also, so.
Well, we could go on a walk anyway, but I mean,
Yeah.
as far as practicality is concerned, I mean, it is. I mean, how do other people on the commission feel? Are we all set to issue a COC? Do we need more on ground?
I have traveled that much. I've been in there a lot, walking around, and I
Shooting things.
Recovered nature really recovers some pretty rough areas, and that's a good wildlife habitat as it is.
Yeah, I
agree.
walked back there with Carolyn not that long ago, a few months ago. So if she's comfortable with it, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah,
I'd
sounds
entertain a
good.
motion to.
Me.
Who said that?
Liz
Liz.
woke up.
Liz.
Liz woke up.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? So all those in favor of issuing the COC, and there's, correct, Gene, there's 2 COCs, correct? Because there's
There
2
were
DEP
two.
numbers? Yeah.
The reason for that the 195 order was we got that because the original project did not have any work in Berlin. All the work was going to be in Hudson for the shopping center. Berlin denied Benderson the opportunity to do the development. So a different project was designed, and but there was some mitigation that was proposed in Berlin for the work that was going on in Hudson. And then once that work started, Berlin came back and said, wait a minute, we changed our mind. We would like the development to be in our town too. So the whole development plan was changed around a bit to incorporate the development in Berlin, and we needed an order for that. So 202 was for the order for the development of the site. We would like to get a COC on both of these. The work relative to the mitigation for Hudson, we've dealt with Hudson on that directly, and they're okay with that. Well, we'll make sure tomorrow night, but you know, as far as we're concerned, that work is complete for both, under both orders. So
Okay. So thanks, Gene. So just to clarify the motion then, Liz, I believe you'll be in agreement that this is to sign off on 2 COCs
Okay.
for essentially work that overlaps. They
Right.
overlap each other. Is that
Yeah.
okay, Liz?
That's great.
All right.
You have the
So-
DEP numbers for those two?
Well,
I
so
do.
there is a
I
paperwork issue.
I sent them to you.
Okay,
There was a link that you have to click on, and all this information will then drop to your computer, Louise, and all that. But if you can't find it, just let me know tomorrow and I'll send it to you.
okay.
John, so you guys do have a filed copy of the 195 as well?
The 195.
So the 195 is the original one before Berlin approved.
Oh,
the
DEP would, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But we can't find a file, and we have the order, but we can't find it filed.
yeah, we don't have the
filed at
we,
the
we-
registry?
yeah, that was not recorded, and we do not have the original copy of that to be able to record it.
I don't know. I didn't actually pull it at the town hall today because I was just going to go off the stuff you
Yeah,
sent.
if you have the letter that I sent for the request, it's got both orders attached, except that the 195 order was not recorded.
Was that because the project was still like, because we then wound up going back to town meeting? Or,
I don't know. That may have been what happened at the time, but it is a different file number. So it's a different order of conditions that's sitting out there.
and that one was filed in Berlin?
Yes.
That was, okay.
Yep.
So I guess my question is, if we can't locate a copy of 195 that's been filed that we can close out, can we get a new original copy of 195 that we can file, so then we can file a CFC on it and have clean title?
So in other words, you have a photocopy of the 195. You just don't have the signed original.
That's correct.
We don't have the
Um,
signed original. We don't have a book number of it being filed at the registrar. We do have that for 202.
Right.
I don't know if we can retroactively.
I think we've done it in the past.
Yeah, you can, yeah, I'm begging your pardon, but I'm on a Concom. And we get requests like this every now and again also. What I would say is it would need to be signed, get a new signature page with original signatures on it, and then maybe a reissued stamp across the top, something like that, just to make it clear that it was, reissued. It's not going to re-establish the order. There's nothing we can do under it. It's just a matter of allowing us to record it with the registry and then, do everything the way we're supposed to do.
That was 12 and a half years ago, though.
Yeah, I know.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
Steve, I think we had to do that on Dudley Road.
Yes, we did. We've done
Yeah.
this before. Yes,
Yeah.
where the paper did not show up. We have done this before, but you do
Right.
need to go get the signatures. That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
John, if it's okay, I could share my screen again and I can show you just what we submitted. You can see.
Yeah, I'm
my
looking at
screen.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we got it said, I don't know, Gene, this is a copy this is the only copy we had. We're assuming the commission has the same copy. It says master copy up top, but we don't have any evidence that there's a book and page recording number. If you go to the 202, clearly it was recorded. You can see that at the top of the screen. So,
Right.
but this copy
And
of.
we will, Wayne, if you go back to that last page, we'll check with our attorney for the project who
This one now?
filed this one and see if they do have a copy, Goulston Stores, if they happen to have a copy of the other one before we run through it.
Oh, right
Just to make
there,
sure.
handwritten on the side. Book and
Page.
page.
That's the one that's good. See
That's
the
a
top
good
is
one,
good.
though.
That's
That's
202.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
Yeah,
sorry.
202 they have.
195.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
we start at the beginning of 195, there's no evidence really that at least that this copy's been recorded. It's possible some copy was recorded, but not
No,
anything we had.
nothing's been recorded because I went into the registry and did a search.
Okay,
And
Right.
I did get 202, but I could not find 195.
okay, fair enough, Gene, thank you.
Yeah, we'll be happy to help you with that.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that.
There's going to be a little bit of a signature delay because of COVID and stuff.
Sure.
I take it
We're
you're
not in
not
a rush.
chomping at the bit. Okay.
Clearly to close it out, I just want to make sure that if anything comes up for title, that we just have it cleared whenever.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's
Mhm.
not going to happen in the next few days. That's all. Okay, great. Wait, we haven't voted.
We need to vote, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a motion, a second, and I guess we've had discussion. Is there any other discussion matters? Issues for discussion about these two COCs? So we're going to vote on both at the same time, if that's okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Carolyn,
Aye.
John, I, Louise,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Robin. Yep, Robin
Aye.
and Steve
Aye.
and Liz.
Aye.
There you go. Okay.
Yep. So we're good.
Well,
Right.
thanks you. Yeah, thanks to Carolyn, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those pictures.
Jean
We
and
did all
I
the
have
work.
been working on this since, for 12 years, right?
Yeah, it's right from the
We're,
start.
I think we're
Luckily,
two
I
of
only came in
the
about
only
4 years
people
ago.
left.
Been a
Jean,
while.
have you actually retired now?
No,
No.
not yet. I'm trying.
You were trying 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's about right. Oh, I've cut back my hours quite a bit. I'm only working 20 hours a week, so, and
Oh, good.
that alleviates a lot of stress, I'll tell you that.
Sure. Yep.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
Walter.
yeah, what just happened, I totally agree to. I mean, no other choice. It's recovered, the environment is recovered, there's wildlife down there, and this issue of, nitty gritty, did they plant this, did they plant that? Over a 20-year period, it's insignificant. Mother Nature will take over. It brings up also the issue of Hudson-Berlin relationships. Berlin, by the way, has provided Hudson since 1900 with water supply from Gates Pond. And they have protected that area. And I'm glad that they did, because otherwise it'd be all developed. There were cottages around Gates Pond, and it was quite a, people from Boston would come out to stay at Gates Pond in their cottages.
Oh.
And now it's a wilderness area, and I appreciate Hudson for having that water supply. Furthermore, Hudson dumped their trash in Berlin for I don't know how many decades down off of Gates Pond Road. That's all solid over. Now they have, what is it called? The, Carolyn, what is it? The Crystal Springs.
Yep.
And they have a number of wells, and I don't know, frankly, whether they're in Berlin or Hudson, but nevertheless, a lot of Berlin plays a role in there. So Berlin has provided for Hudson over the last century for water, for rubbish
Trash,
disposal, for transportation, whatever. I just think it's important that members of the Conservation Commission understand that and appreciate it.
Yep.
Berlin
Thank
is
you,
a
Walter.
great friend
All right.
of Hudson.
Great.
Thank
I want to
you.
let these guys go.
Well, thank you very
So-
much. And regardless of having the CFC, anything comes up, you notice any issues back there, whatever, just reach out, let us know. We're still happy to work with the town and make sure things progress nicely.
Thank you.
Yep. If-
Okay.
I will definitely say they've been a great neighbor. If you have to have a shopping center in your backyard, they've been great. So,
By the
Good
way,
here.
We appreciate that. We
Berlin
tried hard.
voted against it first of all. Then Hudson voted for it because Hudson cannot stand an acre of open space. They can't
All right.
stand it. So
All
they
right. Well,
voted to approve it. And we figured if we're gonna get the traffic on Gates Pond Road and all the other stuff, we might as well get some rewards out of it, which is the taxes. So that's why Berlin voted for it. Get that straight.
yep.
okay. All right, Walter. I want to. It's getting late and I'm getting tired. Thank you, the three of you, and good night.
All right,
All
good
right.
night.
Good night, guys.
Good
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Okay.
Okay. John, we
couple-
do have a Joanna Stoll in attendance. Are we expecting anyone else at 9?
No.
Can I?
Well, you can
See.
ask her. I mean, if she wants to ask a question or something, she can just put her hand up, right?
Right, sure. Okay.
So, I'm
Just-
happy to entertain anything, but otherwise she can just listen.
Okay. Well, she just raised her hand.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Hi,
She's
Joanna.
Hi,
she's
no.
mute.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify. I'm with VHB. I was just watching the proceedings to
Oh.
see how it went. I didn't want to be a mystery person.
No
Well, it was
problem.
more fun when you were a mystery person.
So what is your opinion? Stop
No.
holding back. Let's have it.
All right.
Oh, I've just been involved in the tail end of this.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Joanna.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good night. All right. A few more agenda items. Remember, the Berlin website training is on January 14th from noon to 4. Although I got an email that it will be recorded, so you can learn
good.
about. Yeah. So it'll be available afterwards to learn how to screw with our website, which needs screwing with at this point. It needs our website-
Available on YouTube for all the world to see.
I hope not.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
hope not.
Maybe Peg could answer that question.
No.
All right.
I have no update on Bridge Road, wetland bylaw. Carol and I met with Tim Wheeler,
Yep.
and that went well.
Yep.
Great.
I'm going to start thinking about, sort of inviting myself to some of the other committees if people want to join you know,
Right.
like,
I've reached out to Mike Sawyer a couple of times and have not yet gotten a response.
What was the Bridge Road Tim Wheeler meeting about?
Those were two different things.
two separate things. Bridge Road was about the utility poles.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's all right. That's all right. So I'll try to call. I'll try to email Mike too. And then should we, you know, maybe I'll start like, you know, once things settle down, ZBA, Board of Health, stuff like that. See
All right, if you want any help getting that scheduled, let me know.
Okay.
Happy to help you do that.
Thanks. Any other people like talking about wetland bylaws?
Well, we should certainly schedule a meeting with the select board,
Hi, Peg.
Board of Health. Board of Health,
Yep.
Planning.
Yep. Well, yeah.
Zoning.
Well, we don't have to talk to planning.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Yes, Walter.
What, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Walter.
I raised my hand. What is the goal here? The town meeting has established. What is our goal here? This coming town meeting? Can we get into it? I don't think we can. What?
In May or June? Yes, we can. Yes,
What?
we can. In May or June? It's for May or June. We'll get
For
there.
the annual town meeting,
Can we get into it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
if we do our legwork now.
All right. Fine.
Good. Robin, do you have any update on Pan Am?
Yes, so Walter actually reached out to Darlene yesterday and she responded that she will prepare a PNS. So Walter, I was actually, unless you want to, I was going to respond to her email and just see how quickly she can get that to us because the grant is due February 1st. So
Okay.
I've got that all drafted. I think the only thing that's left is just knowing the exact purchase price, which I'm assuming wasn't, you know, I couldn't remember exactly how many acres it was. And so I was going to respond to her and see how quickly we could get that and what the purchase price will be, the total purchase price.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
we have to.
you as you're kind of heading this project. You can take over and talk to her, whatever, get the proposal and provide it for the town meeting and I'll support it.
Okay, great. So that was my next, oh, do you have a question, John?
Yeah, it's just that, you know, we have to be careful about putting carts in front of horses because we can't actually authorize to spend anything, obviously.
So I
without
think
the town's approval, which would happen at town meeting.
well, so Walter had asked for whatever Clinton had done, and Clinton had something in their PNS that did provide for it needing to go through town meeting. So I'll confirm that with Darlene when I reach out to her and
Right.
just make sure that there's a provision in there.
Right, because nothing will fly unless, you know, because we can't do anything without approval at town meeting.
Yep.
So
once we have a working document, we should go before the select board.
We'll go before the select board, get their input.
Okay.
Find out, you know, so don't make any commitments.
Yeah, so I was also going to see if I could I was going to reach out to the, now that we've kind of got this in motion a little bit, I was also going to reach out to the person who oversees the Mass Trails grant and see if there's something in lieu of a PNS that we could put in with the grant so that we could submit for this year. Because I don't think we're going to be able to get a PNS like executed before February 1st.
No, that's unrealistic.
I think so too. So I don't know if we can do like an MOU or just some sort of letter of intent or something like that. So I'm going to see what they'll accept.
All right. Robin, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Robin.
Mr. Chairman, I think that maybe Robin and I should talk a little more on the phone about how to get this done. I think that Darlene wants to get this accomplished. We need to come up with the money. we need to come up with the grant, and I think you should contact her directly and work with her.
Yeah,
And
I'll reach out to her.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's time for bed.
All right,
me
I
too.
have, well, I have two quick things, but go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Carolyn.
So Community Preservation Act Committee met last night.
Yeah.
And we are working on the draft. We have to develop a Community Preservation Act plan, which is divided into sections, the overview. And then each of the three groups that have the special interest, the 10% money, so historical, affordable housing, and open space, has a section. So I've been working on the draft of our section. And what I'd like to do is email that out to members of the board for input. It's really basic, gonna take you about 30 seconds to look over. We have to redo it every year. So what we do this year isn't, it's more of a living document, so it can evolve, but just to make sure that there's nothing anybody sees that has been left out or that is left in that shouldn't be there.
Will do. I'll definitely look over that.
Okay.
Question, is recreation going for some of this money too?
So open space and rec are one category.
Oh,
So Julie Lee is currently the entire recreation committee.
yeah.
And I know, and she has looked over, her and I are working together on the open space rec portion of it. So she has definitely given me input for their portion.
I just wondered if the path around the school paving
It's
that.
yeah,
not
it's
in the
not
works?
specifically spelled out in this document.
Mhm.
We were trying to leave this document kind of loose because we don't really have any, it's just the beginning, so we're not really sure what direction we're going to go in with anything really.
Okay.
So it's, the plan is the money will be used for open space, for the environment, and passive recreation is kind of what it says.
Okay, good.
Um,
I was hoping that they weren't going to go for a bunch of money for that quickly. I was hoping that we were going to get it.
Right. Yeah, we haven't even started as a group started talking about taking applications for any of the money yet. So
Okay.
What was the
we
other
have to,
item, Carolyn?
my other item is that unless I am needed, I will not be at the meeting next week because it is my daughter's birthday. And the next meeting.
What meeting next week?
Not the meeting next week, the next meeting.
That's
On the 20th.
That's no excuse.
Seconded.
You actually just reminded me, I've got a class that's going to be going on Wednesday nights that starts at 8:45. So I'm going to have to drop off a little early for the next couple of sessions.
That's fine, Robin. Just let us know if you need to do any updates before 8:45.
Okay.
Carolyn, one last question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we need to vote on the annual report, or you guys just nod? Does that require a vote?
I think it's more just getting input.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's a vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So I did some trail clearing today, and Dan Stinson's going to do some trail clearing tomorrow at 40Ks for us.
Is it bad?
Great.
Yeah,
Is
but
it
Chairman,
bad?
I read it through, and frankly, as I read it through, I was amazed at all the things that happened that I had forgotten. But it's a good thorough report, and as far as I'm concerned, well written, and thank you.
Well, thank you, Walter. That's very kind. Entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll motion.
Second, third, and fourth.
Okay. Roll call vote. Carolyn.
Aye.
John. Aye. Louise.
Aye.
Walter.
Aye.
Robin.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.